Hello there guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm the Rogue Witcher. Thank you for joining me. In today's video we have episode 3 of Character Chronicles. Character Chronicles is a series I do where I delve deep into a character from a TV show or film, and I just really give you more background and more information and some character analysis on my part from my experience covering and watching said character. This week's episode is episode 3 and it is Ganieda, of course, beloved character in the Pendragon Cycle. So stick with me as we get into Ganieda and break down her character and her story. Just before we do though guys, please, if we can hit that like button. Sometimes I get like 500 views and only like 12 likes. Likes are what push the video. YouTube won't push it and I won't grow without them. So if you can just smash that button, I'd really appreciate it. No more waffling though guys, there's a lot to talk about and I can't wait to get into it. So let's do it. Episode 3 of Character Chronicles, Ganieda. Ganieda is born, as is quite a few of the characters in the Pendragon Cycle, to a very rich bloodline. Her father, King Custennin, is king of Guido in Britain, and he's also the son of a great king. I'm going to probably butcher it, so I've wrote it down to pronounce it. His father was King Merlin, might be pronouncing that wrong, king of Scaffa, one of the 9 kingdoms of Atlantis. So by that logic, she technically would have been a princess of Atlantis. So now also a princess of her father's kingdom in Britain. She has very royal bloodline, and of course Atlantean bloodline, which is important because it means she is blessed with obviously longer life, or supposed to be, as we'll talk about. Her mother, her name is not mentioned. Could have been a Briton, it's not confirmed. So a bit of mystery surrounding her mother. Of course, her husband goes on to be Merlin, the great Merlin, her mother-in-law, Caris. So, you know, Avalac would have been her, I don't really think grandfather-in-law is the thing, but you get it. And they had a very good bond, Avalac and her grandfather, Mericon. Obviously, both kings of one of the 9 kingdoms each of Atlantis. So, yes, comes from very good, noble, high-end stock, as it were. What I like about Ganieda is that she is sort of not your typical princess. That's what I noticed anyway, is that she is quite a bit of what you would call in modern day a tomboy. She likes to hunt, as she is doing when she meets Merlin for the first time in the show. She's a very skillful rider. When you first see her, she's not wearing too, like, you know, much like flowery dresses or stuff like that. She dresses very conservatively and quite, you know, I would say boyish is the word I would use. But I really like, and that's why her story is so fantastic in the show, is that her and Merlin complement each other's different sides so beautifully. He brings out the more feminine side to Ganieda, and she sort of brings out his softer side and sort of allows him to not be, what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of unlocks him, if you will. You know, he's obviously, Merlin's a very, I'm going to say, tightly wound character. Like I say, a lot of emotional stuff on his shoulders, the weight, as we discussed in episode 1, with his lineage and all what is expected of him. And so he's always been very proper, but she allows him to sort of let go a little and be a little bit more free. And she has that talent. And he, when falling in love, allows her to lean in more to her femininity. It's not that she was against it, it's that it's just not maybe her first choice, her natural nature. But of course, wanting that when she meets Merlin allows her that side to flourish more. You know, you need a partner really to allow that side to really flow more. She's very soft-spoken, but also very strong. I find that's what I really like about it. It's quite discerning, is that she's very kind and soft, but at the same time is also very headstrong. You know, Ganieda is also a fighter. You know, when they are attacked by the Saxons the first time in the show, you know, she tries to help people. She tries to stand up. You know, she won't shy away from those things. You know, she hunts, like we said before, when she meets Merlin. She has good humour and banter, which I really like. It's very playful, and she's quite, you know, not afraid to say her piece. I think she's a very, very interesting character. I'm gutted we only got such a limited time with Ganieda. I would have loved a lot more. I really would have. I think she's a fantastic character. Like I said, she's sort of Merlin's emotional anchor, his northern star, his point of preference of where to go. I also wanted to talk about, in terms of royalty, she would have potentially gone on to be Queen of Guido. Also, I forgot Camelot. my bad. So her father's king of both of those. She also would have gone on to be Queen of Maradunum. And if everything would have gone properly, Merlin probably most likely would have gone on to be the High King and her the High Queen. So she had this beautiful future in front of her, a child, lineage to the two, you know, with marriage and blood, the great last Atlantean kingdoms in Britain. Everything going for her, you know, a loving husband, a future son, a family, everything. But unfortunately it ends tragically because, as we know, unfortunately Ganieda meets her end brutally as she is murdered by a Saxon invasion party. That's what I love about her, that when Merlin finds her, she could be angry. You know, she knows at that point she's going to die. She knows she's lost her child. She could lash out. She could be, where were you? This, that. She calls him the wolf boy, like she does when she first meets him. It's almost like she's trying to reassure him in that moment and thinking about him more than herself, and that just speaks volumes to the type of person that she was. It still gets to me. I'm still gutted how that went down, but a fantastic character who was kind, compassionate, strong, resilient, loyal, family oriented. That just encompasses Ganieda, a fantastic character who I absolutely loved, and like I say, really wish we'd have got a lot more on. I also want to say, fantastic casting. I'm a huge Brett Cooper fan. You know, obviously was a younger actress when she was on the Disney Channel and stuff like that. Has gone on to find fame in YouTube, and obviously a very opinionated person, which I respect, because, you know, I'm sort of the belief that everyone is allowed their opinion. You know, you can disagree. You can really think that's a bad opinion, but at the end of the day, they are entitled to it. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, and that is so important. I also think that she's a very talented actress, and it was great to see her come out of retirement for this. I'd love to see her maybe pursue acting again in another role. I think she's very suited to it. You know, I bought into her playing like a princess style medieval character straight away. I thought her voice was fantastic. I think she maybe she got a dialect coach, I don't know, but her accent was, I thought, very good. And from one, you know, just the look, if I was going to picture a sort of princess for Merlin, I think that's what I would have pictured. I almost think that maybe they could do a what if. You know how in Marvel and stuff like this, guys, they have a what if. How cool would a what if book be? What if that didn't happen? And Merlin, Ganieda, and we get a story about how it would have gone on. That would be awesome. I highly doubt that's going to happen, but hey, maybe someone is going to do like a fan fiction and write a book like that. That would be pretty cool. I'd love to read that. Maybe you're watching. If you are, let me know. I'd love to read it. I also really like in the show how they used Ganieda throughout the series. Like at the start, I was under the illusion that he was visioning her as she was going to be in his future. But obviously at that time, we were in present day timeline. So I think they did very well with that. As someone who hasn't read the books, I didn't really realise that she was someone he knew until about an episode before they actually met. There were certain scenes where I was thinking, it's like he almost sees familiarity in when he sees her, which is not a good sign. 2 people in the comments say, should we tell him, made me get a bit suspicious as well. And then I think overall, when I think it really sealed it is when they were on the horses and he had a look over, and I think he put his hand on her, and I was like, because at that point I really should have been thinking more of why was he in exile for so long. And then of course it all just came to conclusion pretty obviously. And it's just, you know, that just shows the impact that she had on his life, that losing her sent him into a rage spiral of slaughter that just shook his whole moral core and beliefs and everything about his life, that he went in hiding for 50 years. That's how devastating losing her was, because, you know, you can't find another Ganieda. I'm not saying Merlin can't find happiness or find another partner. I'm not saying that at all. But there's some people who come into your life that is just so crucial. And maybe they didn't play a large part. Maybe it was just a small part. But what they did play cannot be replicated. You could find another person and they'll offer different things, maybe some similar things, but they can't offer that, not what that person was at that time. And it's sort of what Merlin needed. He was very, you know, he was young, and I'm not going to say cocky because he wasn't, but obviously it would have been very easy for him to go that route, being all powerful, you know, again, family, history and lineage, set to become the biggest badass going, but she grounded him. She kept him in reality. She, you know, complemented his great personality traits and probably curbed his not so great ones. You know, balance, really perfect. So, oh, what a character Ganieda was. Right then guys, that is the episode. I loved talking about Ganieda. If you liked it, please smash the like button on the way out. If you can, leave a comment down below. I reply to every single comment and love to engage. And of course, subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. We've had an unbelievable weekend because of my From video doing so well. I can't recommend highly enough, a little plug to watch From. It's the best show on TV in my opinion. Go check it out. No more waffling guys, I'm going to let you go. I've been the Rogue Witcher. As always, I will catch you in the next video. See you next time. Adios.